Let's talk about recovery. I'm sitting at the park. I just got here, making sure my dogs are straight. I got a new sponsee, so I'm starting over in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I do AA, NA, Celebrate Recovery, Smart Recovery. Got questions about anything, any comments you want to make? I myself am 6.5 years clean. My husband just recently hit 9 months again, but I really think it's the real deal this time because he's had the psychic change that is necessary for recovery. He definitely has a connection with God. Here's one of my dogs. It's my husband, Cliff. Say hi, Cliff. Ah, ah, ah. Really, babe? Anyway, so we're in Florida.
Not really.
And you have to bring bug spray to the park. Oh my God, y'all. I just inhale. I got deep woods in my mouth, y'all.
It's funny, I don't have a towel.
Ah, I have to spit. I should charge money for that, but I don't have an OnlyFans, so it's not fun to see me spit, right? Everybody's going to pay money for that. No, I'm good, babe. Thanks. Ugh. Yuck, yuck. There's a puppy I've been trying to find a home for, and
It disappeared.
it disappeared. We were saying we're going to have to call animal control because we have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and I can't find a home for this dog. This cute, cute little puppy. Whenever it comes over, we feed it, we love on it, and then it goes away. So this last time, my husband said, listen, just do what you want with the dog. Because I told him, we're either got to be all in with the dog or we got to call animal control.
No kill.
Or no kill shelter. Something before the dog gets so attached to us. Or we get so attached to it. So finally, my husband says, you can have the dog. Yay! How about the dog hasn't been back since? I'm waiting for this dog who I've decided to call Milo. And I'm going to snatch it up. I got a collar for it, and I'm going to take it to the vet. I'm going to get him neutered, and I'm going to get him his shots. You know, what else can I do?
Of course, there's an expiration on that offer, too. That was just that day.
Here's my
Oh my
dogs.
God, she refuses
Here's
to show
my
you the dog.
dogs.
Dogs are great.
That's
She's
Mango
keeping them hidden.
and Dio. Mango's the older one. He's 2, 2.5. This is Dio. He's 1.5. Our cute babies. Let's talk about recovery. Stacy, clean up the mess you made. You clean up the mess by getting the sponsor and going to meetings and getting right with God and doing the steps. Then will you be able to clean up your mess? Well, I'd rather you be on medication, Stacy, than street drugs.
Can't stay down and just say, it's too hard, I can't do it. I mean, you have to at least try. I mean, I never gave up. I was down. No better than anybody else. And still no better than anybody else. I thought I'd never do it. I had a pew-pew in my mouth at one point. I shouldn't say that. I was bad. I wanted to end things for myself. I mean, I didn't. But there was times, there was points where I was just, I can't do it. Move on. Go without me. I'm just going to ruin your life because if you're around me, but I'll never be able to stop. I'm just saying, I just can't give up. Get up. Go do something fun. Get outside yourself. Do something crazy and different just because anything but, dude. So laying and being by yourself and feeling bad and that defeatist attitude. I had it for a long time, man. It was pathetic for me. And now looking back, I'm so grateful that I'm where I am, which is still just here on earth, being humble, but grateful because I could lose it at any time. I could, decide to have a bad day and it's all right back to misery and the pain. And I don't want that ever again.
I think that what you've been doing is not working for you.
It's time to live your life, get to know yourself, the good side, happy side. Life's too short to be miserable.
You can't prioritize your schedule. You got to schedule your priorities. You got to get to church. You got to find a meeting that works for you. Not the meetings that you've been going to that are filled with the whiners and the criers and the victims and the woe is me and everything's everybody else's fault. You need to get to meetings where people are in the book and work in the program and are happy, joyous, and free and not sitting around talking shit about other people.
I was young. And I wish I'd have stepped in it and stayed in it. People, they don't have the next time they get high. It could be the last time they can overdose. But aside from that, you still have 20, 25, 30, 40 years of hell if you choose to have it. Because it's there for the taking. You can stay miserable and have misery in your life. And it's there for the taking because that's what I did. I stayed miserable. Moments have happened, but I was never really happy. I had stay high, stay miserable, trying to get high, always trying to just manipulate. Just it was a miserable life, and there's lots of that left for you if you want it. It's not the most happy existence.
Struggling to let go of resentment and pain. That's what's keeping you stuck. That, my love, is why we work the steps so that you can let go of that resentment and pain. You're carrying that around with you and you can let it go.
And you're
But
doing it.
until you do, you're gonna be miserable.
And those resentments, nobody feels them but you.
Yeah, you being mad, you being resentful, you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting the people you're resentful at. They don't care. There's all kinds of demons in the world, Stace. The addiction demon, at least there's a solution for that. Cliff and I have renewed ourselves and have been going to church regularly. And it's making a big difference in our life. We try to put God in our life, in our marriage, definitely in our recovery. If not for that, Cliff would still be using. Cliff will say, tell it, Cliff.
I would definitely still be using if I didn't have a psychic change. And what brought me to that, I can't explain to you exactly how I did it, but I had enough pain and I was effing miserable. And all I was doing is disappointing this one, my mom, and steady being a piece of shit. And I let go of it one day. I something woke me up. And then once I had a few 24 hours behind my back, I said, wow, this feels better. And then how do I not do the same thing I did? I'd be clean for 3 days, clean. That's not hardly what it was, but not used for 5 days and then back. I was in a cycle. And she would tell you, I was in a cycle. Used for 3 days, stop for 4, and then right back at it. I feel a lot better, and I refuse to go back. And I've said that before. So what was different this time? A psychic change, I guess. And that's really weird because I don't like to say that because to me, it always sounds cheesy. I don't know how to describe it except that I have a whole new perspective on life. And I'm grateful for waking up this morning. Grateful for what I have. I lived on the streets. I lived on the side of the road. I lived behind dumpsters. I understand what that's like. Made me have great gratitude that I've never known. And then I thank God every day. And I look at my mom, and she's still alive, and she could pass away anytime. And she's got dementia. And just finally realized, look at, I've always had everything I ever wanted right in front of me, and I just couldn't appreciate it because it's a damn addiction. All I wanted to do is get high, having everything I ever needed. But when I didn't have drugs, the worst day on earth. I've had enough of that. And now I have me. I finally love myself. And that's the most important thing. Having God in your life and loving yourself, anything else will fall in place. But if you don't have that, you got to get it. You have to. Whether you go to church every day or not, that's not really, just have to find a way to love yourself. You can't even love your kids unless you love yourself. You can't do shit for anybody unless you love yourself. Get the hell outside of yourself. You have to start somewhere. You have to. You can't just sit there feeling bad and hating everybody or resenting, however you want to label it. But that's you. It's your life. You're responsible for at least starting it. You have to do something. And I was told the same thing all my life. So I'm not telling you anything. This is never a place of judgment. There's a place where you got to do it. Get off your ass or lose it. That's all I got right now.
Isn't he smart? Here's what I'm going to tell you is you got to not be money motivated. If money motivates you, you're never going to get ahead. Part of being in recovery is being of service. True service is without expectation.
Selflessness, yeah.
And that's the problem with feeling like a victim, is that it's so self-centered. And self-destructive because it's so self-centered. It's me, 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 me. You got to get out of that. You got to think, what can I do for the next guy? What am I doing that is putting good into the world, into the universe? Am I just taking or am I giving? And gratitude. When you said that you're stuck in your head and you're in a dark place, the only way I know to pull out of that place is with gratitude. It's the frequency thing. If you're in a low frequency emotion, the best way to pull yourself out of that and up into the higher frequency emotions is through gratitude. You know, start listing, hey, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I can see. I'm grateful that I have a job. I'm grateful that I have a car. I'm grateful that people had enough faith in me to give me credit that now I have debt. You know,
Bed to sleep in. Bring it down to the basics, bare basics. A roof over your head.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. You know, that you have a father that loves you.
so many people do not have these things. I mean, really do not have these things. Their houses blew up, or they got it, depending on what country, blew up. Whether it's from a bomb,
burned down because you live in
Right,
California.
right. Well, yeah, right. Or they took your house because you couldn't pay the rent, or whatever. One decision, one bad decision after the next is what I did. One after the other, and get a little bit back, and get a little bit back, and I gave it all away again. I didn't lose it. I gave it away. I've been very clear. I didn't lose shit. I know where it is. I gave it away. Just like my soul for a long time. F that. Every day is not winning the lottery, but it is at the same time. God bless.
Isn't he great? Listen, in recovery, you can't be scared. You can't be soft. You think about the addiction demon. It's going to feed you drugs and alcohol so that it can get the fear that manifests itself into jealousy and resentment and anger and hate, because those are all secondary emotions. They all stem from fear. And if you know that you're a child of God, there's nothing to fear. Finding out who we are without drugs and alcohol when it was such a part of your life. Okay, that's a great question. 40 years, girl, me too. My husband too. Personally, the way that I found out who I was without drugs and alcohol, because I'm right there with you. I started using, I was like 11 years old, and I didn't stop until I was 45. I had forgot who I was supposed to be, who I had wanted to be, who I aspired to be, right? And I did made a lot of bad choices in those years, right? Ended up in a lot of crappy situations. I went to a great rehab. I went through Salvation Army rehab, which is no joke. And that's not one of these fancy foo-foo places. This is a place where you go when you're trying not to die. You're trying not to go to jail. You already been living under the bridge, like bad. So for me, once I got there, I was so ready. I get that, Jackie. I still have a problem with isolation. I started at 12 as well, never actually grew up. Isolation's big, right? You can't believe any of the lies. Oh, if you drink and do drugs, it'll make you more social. No, it won't. This one, my husband back here, he's over there somewhere playing with the dogs. The minute he get high, he's hiding under the bed. He thinks they're coming through the walls, thinks they're coming in through the blinds, calling me up, keeping me on the phone all night at work, telling me about how they're coming. Nobody was coming. Who do you think you are, Pablo Escobar? Get some sleep. It was through working the 12 steps that I found out who I am and what I'm about. And then it comes with time. I'm 6 years clean, sober. I'm not going to split hairs over words. I've been in recovery for 6.5 years. And I have never been this happy that I can remember in my entire life. I had a crappy childhood. Didn't start drinking and drugging because everything in my life was great, right? I masked and hid and numbed myself for so long. Here's my husband. This is Cliff.
Hi.
Say hi to Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
She's great. She comments on all my stuff and she watches my stuff. She's awesome.
Oh, that's great. Welcome.
She's a great supporter. Keeps me going. I think about you, Jackie.
Does she live in Florida?
Jackie, where do you live at? She says, hi, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Oh, you're in Illinois. Oh, poor baby. We're in Florida. Yay! When I don't really feel sometimes like posting something or I'm tired, I think about you, Jackie. And I think, no, because I have people out there that, might just be waiting for one of my little clippy posty things. Maybe I'm going to say the thing that you needed to hear that day, and it motivates me. And so I am grateful for you, Jackie. I am. I'm grateful for everybody that watches my podcast. Like it, comment on it, share it. That helps get it out to other people. That tells YouTube and TikTok that, hey, somebody cares. So help me to help other people, to help others, to help more people. Yeah, it's still working the steps. Absolutely. Working through step 4, especially, where I was able to see my patterns throughout my life, and especially that magic column in step 4 where you figure out what your part in it was. And sometimes my part was being at the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong thing with the wrong people, and bad things happen. But it still comes back to me making the choice to be in that place at that time with those people doing that thing, and something bad happened to me. Okay, well, and because of step 4, I learned to forgive other people. So by the time I got to step 8, which is just making your list and becoming willing to make amends, by the time I did that, it was so much easier for me to see where my problem was and see what I needed to ask forgiveness for, right? Because a lot of those people on step 4 just flip right over to step 8. And then by working my amends and being able to be free of it, there were people in my life that I was dipping and dodging. I can't talk to that person. Oh, I screwed that person over. Oh, I did this. I did that. I stole her shit and helped her look for it. Yeah. By having those conversations and making those amends and going to those people and saying, hey, listen, I'm in recovery. I went to rehab. I'm working my steps. I did this. I did the other thing. What can I do to repair this relationship? By having that conversation, now there's nowhere I can't go. There's nobody I can't talk to. There's nobody that I feel like if I run into them, it's going to be hard. I could not possibly get in touch with all the people that I owed amends to. And the important thing is that you become ready to have that conversation. There are people have no way to get in contact with them. However, if I were to just randomly run into them at Walmart tomorrow, I'm ready to have that conversation. That's what steps 8 and 9 are about, being willing and ready and able to have that conversation if the opportunity presents itself. And yes, exactly, Jackie, you make amends with your actions. You make a living amends, right? Because it's not about the thing that you did. It's not that you stole money from somebody. That's not the exact nature of your wrong. The exact nature of your wrong is that you're a thief, a liar, couldn't be trusted, right? You created a feeling in another person that gave them fear, anger, resentment. You do living amends by living your life in such a way that you do not create those feelings in another person. You are trustworthy. You are reliable. You are dependable. People can count on you. When you say something, you mean it. Exactly. Amends for your part. Listen, there are people out there that I made phone calls to make amends for my part that were not people I needed to have relationships with and had no intention. And it's fine. We never need to speak again, but I need to clear my side of the street. Had a boyfriend, for instance, had cheated on me. Okay. Well, I had done some crappy stuff too, right? So there's a part of me that goes, well, I'm not making amends to him because he cheated on me. Absolutely, he did that. But that's not the entirety of our relationship. There's other stuff he did. There's other stuff I did. None of it makes it okay that he cheated on me. But him cheating on me didn't make what I did okay either. Now, I never cheated on him, but, with my words and my actions, I can make you cry. So I had to call him up and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing now. And I am sorry for when I blah, 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 blah. And his response to me, he was still using, still actively in his addiction. He said, that's great. I'm glad you found recovery. And that was it. There was no, hey, let's get together and have coffee. That's not going to happen. That's a good point. If you have an abuser that put you in the hospital, if it would be dangerous for you to reconnect with that person, I have somebody in my life like that as well, that it would be dangerous for me to contact. Like, I can't have this person know where I am, and I'm not going to contact them. So I make living amends. Again, I don't put myself in situations where something like that can happen to me again, because the reason that particular thing happened to me was, again, wrong time, wrong place, doing the wrong thing, hanging out with the wrong people, and something bad happened to me. Right? It was still my choice to be in that place at that time, unfortunately. Now, did that make it okay for what happened to me? Absolutely not. Right? We're all responsible for our actions. And regardless of where I was and what I was doing, did make it okay for somebody else to hurt me. I'm not ever going to contact that person. And if that person ever contacts me, it's not going to go well for them. However, part of my recovery, part of my living amends, part of my being happy, joyous, and free means that I don't put myself in situations where those things are likely to happen to me. Now, does that mean that I'm safe in the world and I can't get mugged or robbed or raped walking in my car in a dark parking lot? Of course I could. What am I, special? But that would be solely on the part of the person hurting me. Is this making sense? And finding out who I am, turns out I'm a conservative Christian. Who knew? If you'd have told me that 10 years ago, I'd have told you you're out of your mind. I started paying attention to what I think. What are my opinions? What is my opinion of this thing or that thing? Because for the longest time, I didn't have any opinions about anything. I had opinions about when can I get my dope? What time can I call the dope man? Good on you, Jackie. Here's the thing. In recovery, there is no room for I'm a victim. There's no room for somebody else fix my problems. There's no room for that. There's just not. I can't vote, so I don't have a dog in the fight. So anybody that wants to come at me about Republican or Democrat, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about political parties. I'm talking about how people live their life. I'm talking about how you go through your day to day and the decisions that you make and the way that you treat other people. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, I have been on probation longer than I was in prison. Okay. I got out of prison in 2015, stayed getting high, had a couple probation violations, and because of that, was not ever allowed to get off probation early. I had a 10 and 10. I had a 10-year prison sentence followed by a 10-year probation, which had I not had violations, could have got off after like 3 years. But no, because I'm in Florida and this is the FAFO state. So here I am, 6.5 years clean. I work in treatment. I'm a certified recovery coach. I have a podcast. My probation officers love me. I've retired one. I'm on my third one. But I recently had a visit and she told me that it was going to be her last visit. And Thanksgiving Day of this year, I will officially be off of probation. So I will officially be free. I have never been free in my life. First, I lived in my parents' house, and that was not a good situation for me. Then I ran away from that, married the first guy to come along, turned out to be a psycho crazy person. And I ended up going to prison, got out of prison. So this whole time, I've either been under the thumb of my parents, my first husband, the institutions that I've been inmate of, and now I'm a property of the federal government, you know. But come Thanksgiving Day, I'm truly free of it, truly free of it. And it's going to be great. I've been doing good for so long that literally my PO shows up like once every couple of months, stops in, how you doing? How's things going? Great. See you next time. You know, I don't fear that. I don't fear when a cop gets behind me driving because there's nothing in my car I have to worry about. Maybe I might speed a little bit here and there, but I go with traffic. I don't just barrel down the highway and zip in, and I use my turn signals, you know.
Yeah, if you are going to zip it, would you use the turn signal? I'm not as mad.
Right. So, you know, and Florida drivers are crazy.
I'm working on the whole not getting mad to begin with. I pray every day about that.
Yes, that's my husband prays every day.
Can't consider drivers on the road, and then it's just I have to not let that make me resentful and angry.
Right, and I learned that in recovery.
It's difficult because there's some crazies out there.
It is difficult. There are crazy. We got to pray for them. There's this little prayer. I will share this with you guys for you, those of you that don't know. There's this thing that you're supposed to say when somebody gets on your nerves, does something you don't like. You say, God, bless them, change me. And you say it 5 times in a row. Bless them, change me. Bless them, change me. Bless them, change me. And it's just like when your grandmother told you to count to 10 when you're angry. Because what that does is it gives them time to get away while you calm down. Yeah. So keeps you out of trouble. Keeps me out of trouble. And yeah, I learned because I work my steps how to ask God to remove these defects of characters. So if I'm feeling fear that's manifesting into one of these other low frequency emotions, I stop and I say, please, God, relieve me of this feeling because I don't want to feel like that. That's how the demon gets in. That's how the demon gets strong. And we don't feed the demon around here, baby. We starve the demon. I learned that through recovery. I learned to ask God to help me with those things. And I have since, over time, learned to ask God to help me with everything and to bring God into everything. Yes, take my thoughts captive, make them obedient to you. Absolutely. That's something my first sponsor used to tell me all the time. You got to bring God into everything. You got to pray about everything. Every decision you make, every conversation you have, every word that comes out of your mouth, you should first ask God to help you. And I do that. Like just the other day, I have a new sponsee. And I'm not going to say too much about her because that's just not appropriate. But before I went and met with her and we started actually going through the book together, I prayed about it. God, please let your word speak through me. Let me get out of the way. And when I speak and people look at me, let them see you. In Jesus' name, amen. And that's a common prayer that I pray. Oh, go adult, Jackie. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping in. You have brought me great joy today, and God bless you. We'll talk later. My before dinner prayer, whenever I eat, I say, God bless this food in the hands that prepared it. May it nourish our bodies as you nourish our spirits and souls. May none of your children ever go hungry. In Jesus' name, amen. That's right. Get to, not have to. You sure right.
Get to, not have to.
I get to wash
I
these
get
dishes.
that.
I have dishes to wash. Yay!
Right.
I get to go to a job. I get to sit at the park.
Get to watch my team lose the football game.
I get to hear my husband snore because there's a man in my bed. Grateful forever.
I'm grateful that she calls me a man.
That's right. I have to go home and go to bed because I have to work tonight. And
Bye, everybody.
Here's my husband. Say hi, baby.
Hi.
So thanks, everybody, for listening to me rant and ramble.
And it is a rant and a ramble.
It is. And you know what?
So
I
good
don't
stuff.
know when the next one's going to be. This is so random for me to do this. But please check out my podcast.
Yeah.
It's called Starve the Demon on YouTube and Spotify. And it's all about recovery. Recovery by any means necessary.
It's not about money, it's for damn sure.
And not about money.
It's all about
'cause
just
I
the
don't
message.
make any money.
Nah, maybe 10 years from now you worry about it. But right now it's about the message and
Yeah.
maybe give it some other people some hope as well.
It is. It absolutely is. And I'm always looking for guests on the podcast. Anybody that has more than 2 years sober, regardless of how you got there.
Yeah.
I want to hear about
Regardless
it.
of how you got there. It does not matter. It's not all about strictly
Mackenzie
AA.
said hi.
Hi, yeah.
Cliff says hi.
It's not just about the 12 steps and a specific way. It's about any means necessary. Anybody wants to share their way, you're all about it.
Thanks, baby. And Mackenzie, who just popped her beautiful self on here, her story's on there, Cliff's story's on there, my story's on there. I'm going through the AA book, the NA book. Oh, so to everybody that's here, I love everybody. Let God sort them out. I love you all.